Good morning, colleagues. I think we can begin. The rest of the people will join us during the session. We have Dinewa from Old Mutual. She will be doing the presentation for us today. Please also remember to fill in the attendance register. I have posted it on the comment section. Thank you so much. Dinewa.
Thank you, Katlaho. Good morning, everyone. As she's already mentioned, my name is Dinella and I'm from Old Mutual. I'm a learning facilitator. So today I'm going to be taking you through our presentation, which we call On the Money, the Big 5 Secrets of Money Management. This is a financial wellness program that we have come up with as Old Mutual that helps or guides our clients in better managing their finances. So hence I've mentioned the program is called the Big 5 Secrets of Money Management. And just a little background on the program. These Big Fives are derived from the Big 5 animals that we find on our banknotes. I don't know if you've noticed, but on our banknotes, there's a Madiba face in front and there's also a Big 5 animal at the back. So we would find the rhino on the 10 Rand, the elephant on the 20, the lion on the 50, the buffalo on the 100 Rand, and we find the leopard on our 200 Rand note. Hence, we call the secrets, the Big 5 Secrets of Money Management. So I just wanted you to know where we get these animals from, because each one of those animals have a message for us on how to better manage our finances. Through the way those animals live, the way they hunt, the way they interact with one another, there's a lesson behind each one of them. And that is what I'll be taking you through today. Take control of your money, live your best life. So I'm just trying to make the slides go, but it seems to be a bit of a problem. If you can just give me a second. Yes, so you wrote to your best life. So for you to have the best life as far as your finances are concerned, so this is a roadmap that you would need to follow. Step number one, you need to understand what influences your money decisions. So when you're taking those financial decisions, you need to know and understand what influences those decisions. Step number two, you need to manage your money well. Step number three, set actionable goals. Step number four, take control of your debt. Step number five, protect yourself and your family. We're going to show you the 5 secrets of money management that will let you live your best life. So the first animal that we're going to be discussing is the lion. And they say, be fearless like the lion and take control of your money. The second one will be the elephant. They say, pay attention like the elephant. Know your income, track your expenses, and make informed choices. The third one will be the rhino. They say, charge down your debt like a rhino. Don't let your debt run your life. Animal number 4 will be the leopard. Focus on your goals like the leopard stalks its prey. And the 5th and last animal will be the buffalo. And they say, protect and grow your family herds, in brackets, family wealth. Let's talk about money. The first animal, they said, be fearless like the lion and take control of your money. So we all know that lions are very fearless animals. When a lion goes out to hunt, it only has one objective, and that is to catch its target. So when it goes out there, it goes out with all it has. So even you as a person, as an individual, you need to make fearless decisions. When you tell yourself that you are going to do something, you need to do whatever it takes to get it. Of course, there will be hiccups along the way, but you should not let those derail you or discourage you to set the objective that you would have set for yourself. So when it comes to finances, you need to be fearless. When you tell yourself, I'm going to save towards a specific goal, you need to do that. When you tell yourself, I'm aiming to have this much by the end of this time, you need to make sure that you get that. What influences your decisions about money? To become fearless like the lion, we need to understand what influences our thoughts, emotions, and decisions on money. So there are different things that could influence you. It could be family, advertising, personal circumstances, social media, dreams and goals, or even friends. So you as an individual, you need to know and understand what influences decisions that you make as far as money is concerned. And then here we're going to look at how to talk to your family about money. 59% of South Africans have an expectation that they will have to support their family. So we are basically talking about black tax here. As people, we are from different backgrounds and we have different responsibilities. There are those who are fortunate enough that when they start working, they don't have any black tax, but there are those that we do have. So, and if you have people depending on you financially, you need to make some time to talk to them about finances. Because, when you don't talk to people about finances, they will always have high expectations of you. So to limit those expectations, you need to make sure that you talk to your family about money. So this is how you would need to have those family talks. First of all, money is an emotional topic. So you need to stay calm. Don't call this family meeting when you are fuming, when you feel like you are angry or whatever. It should be on a normal day. You should be happy, and they focus on your common goals and try not to assign blame. So there should not be any blames. Don't wait for something to finish, then you start pointing fingers. Yes, the eggs finished because you were eating a lot and all of that. No, it should be a normal day, in a calm manner. No blame should be assigned. You need to listen attentively, give others a chance to talk. So it shouldn't be like you are lecturing everyone or you are teaching everybody. It should be an interactive talk. Give everybody a chance to voice out their thoughts or their feelings towards what you would be discussing with them. Start small, maybe with your partner or spouse. So if you've got a partner, first discuss it with them so that by the time you call in everybody, I mean everybody that's depending on you financially. Also the kids, you would know in Tswana they say, so the younger it is, the younger they are, the easier it is for you to teach them. And they can grow with that mentality that you could have taught them. Then it will become a generational thing. You teach them, they teach their kids, they teach their kids, and it becomes a generational thing, because just like the black tax, it's also a generational thing. Our parents are depending on us because their parents were depending on them, and their parents were depending on them. So we need to break that cycle. Let's talk about money. You need to schedule regular imbizo siemali with your family. So it should not only be a thing that happens once in like forever. It should be a regular thing. Every Easter, every December, every winter, you need to have a schedule to say when and how do I talk to these people about this very sensitive topic, being money. There is what we call the money personalities. There are 4 different types of money personalities. As people, we have different personality. So even when it comes to finances, we have total different personality. There's dreamers. The dreamers, those people who have big dreams. One day I'm going to do that. When I get money, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that. And then when they do get that money, all those dreams disappear, like they do the total opposite to what they would have planned. And we've also got the spenders. These are the people that whenever they have money, they just want to go to the mall. these people just want to spend money. Those are the spenders. They have more reason why their money is going out than it's coming in. And it is very unlikely that these people become wealthy, because for you to become wealthy, you need to be able to invest, which takes us to our next money personality, which are investors. So these investors are people who are always looking in the future. Like they're looking, if I can put this 10 rand here, how much is it going to be in the coming 5 years? How much is it going to be in the next 10 years? How much is going to be in the next 15 years? So these people are more focused on long-term goals. They are more focused on what they could achieve in future. And these people are always willing to take risk. They always go for an investment that will have the biggest return. And then we also have the fourth personality, which is the savers. These people will be thinking, instead of me using this 10 right now, let me rather put it and then I'll use it in December once it earned some interest. Or instead of me going out and take a loan to go on holiday, let me rather save for that holiday. Instead of me taking a loan to pay lobola, let me rather save for that. So they're always thinking, okay, they're not like investors. Investors are more thinking long term. Savers are thinking more on the medium term. Medium term is things between the coming 2 to 5 years, and your long term will be 5 years and more. So the savers are more focused on the medium term, and the investors are more focused on the long term. So basically, what the lion is saying to us here is you need to identify your money personality type. You need to know and understand. Here we just describe, explaining to you what each personality means. And if you are this personality type, then what it is that you need to do. So here it says the spenders like nice things, fancy cars, expensive houses, and branded clothes. They will sometimes go into debt to keep up the lifestyle. Spenders are always trying to keep up with the gunenes. So if you are this personality, then don't take on too much debt. Don't buy unnecessary stuff. Shop around for better prices, and you need to start saving now. So the second personality, savers. The savers try to save every cent of money they get. They typically hate spending money and will look for the cheapest deals. They tend to be risk averse. So if you are this personality, then don't put all your savings in low return investments, e.g. money market account, instead of investing it. So if you are this type, sometimes you need to be willing to take big risks to get big returns. And we also have the investors. Investors take risk on investing, hoping for a big payoff. This personality type is entrepreneurial in nature, but also has a higher risk appetite. So if you are this personality, then understand the financial impact of the risks that you take. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You need to diversify your investments. And then we also have the last ones, which are the dreamers. Dreamers are idealistic, thoughtful, and compassionate. You tend to use your money for defining and developing who you are. This money personality tends to focus on their dreams and might not always pay enough attention to your money. So if you are this personality, then you need to automate your savings, payments, and investments. By automating, I mean you need to arrange with whoever that you are saving with that on this date of every month, take this amount from my account and then put it towards your savings. I'm going to use Old Mutual as an example. So if you want to automate with your Old Mutual, for instance, then you need to speak to a financial advisor, and then you agree on the amount that should be deducted on a specific date of every month. Because believe you me, it's not easy to save by hand. If you say, no, I'll go every month and go put that money away, it's not easy. And then you often find people saying, but how do I save? Because I'm not earning enough. But in actual fact, there can never be enough. Because the more money you earn, the more responsibilities you will have. If they were to double your salaries now, you are also going to double the standard of your life. Those who don't have cars will probably get cars, or those who have, they probably want to upgrade. You change what you eat, you change what you wear, you change where you hang out. So the more money you get, the more responsibilities you will have. So trickier is you just need to know how to manage your finances. It is never about how much you are earning, but it is about how well you manage your finances. And then also, if you are a dreamer, you need to keep a close watch over how much you spend. So at the end of every month, just look back to see how much have I spent and what did I spend it on? That should be a wake-up call for you, because then you start realizing that how much of your money you are using and towards what are you using that money for. Because if you don't go back, like if for instance you don't go back now and look how you spent your last month's salary, you will never know if you've wasted, you will never know if you've made the right decisions or you've made some bad calls. You will never know. So it is always to go back. It is always good to always go back, reflect, just to see how you spent your money, where you've spent it on, how you could have saved it, or how much you have saved, and all of those things. So it is always good to reflect on your previous month's income and expenditure. So that is what the lion is teaching us. So you need to be fearless. You need to know and understand your money personality. And also you need to keep track on where and how you are spending your money. Second animal is the elephant. So they say pay attention like the elephant, know your income, track your expenses, and make informed choices. You know, there's a saying, Barito highly bali, an elephant never forgets. The reason for that is because elephants pay attention. They look into detail. So whenever they see something, they will observe it, they will pay attention to it. So we also urging everybody to pay attention to their money, pay attention to how much they earn, pay attention to how they spend that money. There are 4 steps that can help you take control of your finances. These steps are the steps that can help you or guide you when you need to set up your budget. Step number 1, they say know what money is coming in. You know, when you budget, you need to always budget on your net income, budget on the money that you are receiving. Don't budget, you need to budget on the money that you are certain you'll be getting. Don't budget on money that you think you might be getting, because then you'll be misleading yourself. You know, there's people that even budget on their bonus. Do you know how much you're going to be getting for your bonus? You don't know. So you can't budget around that. So you need to budget around your net income, because you know you are certain that this is the money that will be coming into your account at the end of the month. Step number 2, figure out what money is going out. So you need to know your expenses. You need to know, once I get this money, these are my responsibilities. Things like rent, accommodation, rent or bond, your water and electricity, groceries. So you need to know your expenses. You need to know where you spend your money on every month. Step number 3, categorize your expenses and adjust your budget. You need to know that there are 3 types of expenses. We have your fixed expenses. These are the expenses that don't fluctuate. Things like rent. You know, if you are paying 800 Rand for rent, you are going to pay that for at least 12 months. And then Mastene can decide, okay, next month is going up. So those are your fixed. We also have what we call the variable expenses. These are the expenses that fluctuate. They change from month to month. Things like water and electricity. You don't always pay the same amount every month. And then we also have the third type, which is our irregular expenses. Our irregular expenses are expenses that don't happen every month. Things like medical bills, you don't know when you're going to get sick. If you don't have a medical aid, should you get sick, obviously you need to go to the doctor. So you need to always have that money to go to the doctor. Things like wedding gifts, baby shower gifts, those are not things that happen every month. They happen irregularly. Hence, we call them our irregular expense. So on step 4, they say monitor your budget. So once you have that budget, you need to monitor it. You need to know if you are sticking to it. And if you are not, you need to know and understand why not. Because the only reason you draw a budget is for you to stick to it. There are some common myths about budgeting. You find people saying, I don't budget because I don't have time. Well, start small. Write down everything you spend your money on today. So when I say everything, you need to know how much you spend on your airtime, on your data in a month. You need to have a limit for that. Because if you don't have a limit, then you're going to just spend. When you run out of airtime or when you run out of data, you just keep buying more and more. But if you have a limit, then you will know when to stop. You will have something that is regulating how much you spend towards that. Also, entertainment. You need to know, I'm not saying you must stop entertaining yourself. I'm saying include your entertainment in your budget. You need to know how much you entertain yourself in a month. Myth number 2, people say, I'm not good at maths. Well, the math in budgeting is easy. You can also use an app like 22/7 that does the math for you. This app you can either download on Google Play or on Play Store. So, and honestly, I don't think you need any app to help you. But should you really need one, then you can download it because you know where you're spending your money on. You need to just write that down. It's that simple. Myth number 3, people will say budgeting will force me to sacrifice all the things I want. You don't have to give up that Theo burger or those Levi jeans. No problem. Put it in your budget and plan for it. Whatever you want to spend, you are still allowed to spend it. You just need to put it in your budget. You need to tell yourself, okay, next month I need to buy clothes. So you need to have a budget for those clothes to say, this is how much I'm going to spend. And you need to be disciplined enough to stick to that amount. And also, people will be saying, I don't have a regular income. Why should I budget? As long as you spend money, you can budget and take control over of your money. So there are different sources of income. As people, we receive money from different avenues. Some get their money on the returns of investments. Some get it from interest, some get it from side hustle, some get it from family, some receive a salary every month. There are different sources of income. 19% of South Africans have taken personal loans from a family member. Of this, 39% are struggling to repay the loan or have stopped paying. This thing of always borrowing money from family members, it is not all of us who pay it back. We either stop paying because we've arranged with them to stop paying, or we struggle and we fight over it. So I wouldn't advise you to take a loan from a family member. I wouldn't advise you to take a loan from your friend or a relative, because if you value your relationship, stay away from that. If you need a loan, go to the bank, because they always have a bad outcome. So you can imagine 19% of us go and borrow, but 39% of us are struggling to repay or have stopped altogether. You need to diversify your income streams. You can build financial resilience by diversing your sources of income. If you earn a salary, see whether you can start a side hustle. Invest some of your money, invest some of your salary to earn a return. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us the importance of income diversification. About 49% of people show a negative impact on their income during the pandemic. And this is for a different reason. Some people got a salary cut. Some people were budgeting on their bonuses because especially as in the sales field, when you're doing well, you always get your either monthly bonus. Some people were budgeting on that, and they were living their normal life budgeting on their bonuses. So since we've been hit by the COVID, some of us are not getting those bonuses anymore. So we are struggling because we've overcommitted ourselves, bought big cars, big houses, and all of those things. Now that the bonus money is not coming in anymore, our net salaries can't maintain the same standard of life, and it becomes a problem. So that hence I said earlier on that you need to only budget on money that you are certain that you will be receiving, not your bonuses, not your overtime, because they don't always happen. Find the right bank account for you. Once you start earning income, the safest place to keep your money is in a bank. Shop around for the bank account with the lowest fees. You know, as a person, you need to know how much you are paying on your bank charges every month. You need to know how much you are charged for each transaction. You know, there's a story about this person that was stealing, I think it's R1 from everybody's account from a specific bank. And nobody noticed this except for one old man. When he went to the bank to complain about a rent disappearing from his account every month, and the bank did the investigation, they actually found that it's not only the old man's account, but it's everybody in that specific bank. So can you imagine how much money that person was making from just taking R1 from everybody's account? He was making a lot of money. And we didn't notice this because firstly, we never go through our bank statements. You need to make sure that you go through your bank statement at least once every month. And you know, with some banks, you don't get an SMS notification if somebody swipes or withdraws or debits less than R100. And the only way you will see these transactions is on your bank statement. But if you are not checking your bank statement, you won't see that. There's a lot of fraudsters in our banking industry. You can find that for the past 3 years, you have a debit order of R80 that you are not aware of. And this is because you won't get an SMS notification from certain banks when it's less than R100. So go through your bank statement so you can know and understand all the transactions that are made on your account. You need to open an interest earning savings account for your emergency fund. You know, your emergency fund is just that, an emergency fund, money that you always put aside in case of an emergency. So here is just a list of the different accounts that we have. You can find your Mzansi account. I think this you would find at the post office. You've got your transmission account, your check account, money market account, or your fixed deposit. So we've got different avenues when it comes to that. Understand what you spend on. This is step number 2. You need to know and understand what you're spending your money on. Is it on bond repayment? Is it on rent? Is it groceries? Is it takeout, electricity and water? Is it your debt repayment, entertainment, personal care, education, transport, data, and airtime? So you need to know where your money is going to. Deciding between needs and wants. When setting up your budget, prioritize your expenses. Needs are must-haves, things that are essential for relieving. And we've got our wants. Wants are our desires, things that we want, but could also do without. So when you are setting up your budget, you need to prioritize. You need to prioritize. You need to know what your needs are, what your wants are. So here we've just got this column just to help us divide. We call it the Moscow method. So you would have your must-have. These are your needs. And then you also have your should-have. These are also needs. So must-haves and should-haves, these you must have. These are your needs. And then you have your wants below that. Could have, won't have. So this is just helping us to prioritize. So whatever you are spending your money on, it needs to fall either under your needs or your wants. So this here is just a table on how to draw up your budget. If you can look right at the top, it says income. So this is money in. And then you start listing all your expenses, your living expenses. So food and transport, personal care, communications, debt, childcare, family tax, entertainment. You can see everything is included here. Everything that you're spending your money on should be included. And then right at the bottom, we'll have a total. So if you can look there under January, right there at the top, it says January. If you look right at the bottom under total, you will see that this person has a surplus, is living in deficit. They are getting 21,000 Rand every month. But at the end of the month, they would have spent 21,706. So this person is living beyond their means. Their budget is not looking so well because they are living in a deficit. So for you to be able to make sure that your budget is never left negative, but it's always positive, you need to adjust. So now we are looking at the adjusted budget. So this person was spending 2,500 Rand on groceries. So they went back and looked, where can I start cutting out? What are my needs and what are my wants? They started cutting out on a bit of their wants, cut back on takeout, groceries, and cosmetic and data. So that's the places where they felt, you know what, I can actually cut down. And they also found a cheaper life insurance after shopping around. It is always good. Also, if you've got a car insurance, then you call different insurers, get a better quote. Also, your DSTV package, you can look at your DSTV package to say I'm paying premium, but I don't even know have the channels on that package. So how about I downgrade? You find a person paying for the premium, but they are watching channels that they can actually find on a cheaper package. So don't just pay because, no, I want to have a premium package, but you find that all those channels that you are watching, you can find them on a cheaper package. So you need to always shop around to see where you can save your money. So they've adjusted their budget. So now this person ended up spending 20,497. So this means that they still have 503 Rand left in their account after they've taken care of their expenses. So that is what we need to do as people. List all your expenses, look at your income and see where you can cut out. Look how you can adjust your budget to better suit your living standard. You know, there's a lot of lifestyle diseases, and a lot of times these are caused by financial problems. So if you are this person that is always living in a deficit, you know, you are never at peace. You can even crave KFC and not even have 20 Rand to go and buy that KFC, and it's a problem. You know, when I speak of lifestyle diseases, I'm talking about your depression, I'm talking about your stress, I'm talking about your bulimia, like eating disorders and all of that. A lot of times those are caused by financial problems. So you need to make sure that you are able to manage your finances well. And also, some people are not even productive at work because of their own financial issues. You know, there's such a high divorce rate, and a lot of times it's caused by financial problems. So you can see that if we can better handle our finances, we can have healthy relationship. We can be healthy also spiritually, emotionally, and all of that. So we need to better manage our finances, have a budget for every single thing that you are spending your money on. Don't just buy because people are buying. Don't just buy because people are selling. You need to buy because you need to. How to manage your expenses better. Before buying something, ask yourself these 5 questions. Can I really afford this item? Is it in my budget? Do I really need this item? Can I use less of this item? Is there a cheaper alternative? Can I get a better price elsewhere? If I borrow to buy it, how much will it cost me in total? So this the fifth one, it says if I borrow to buy it, how much will it cost me in total? Here they're talking about the cost of debt. So when you buy something on credit and you buy something on cash, it obviously doesn't cost you the same amount. So when they calculate your monthly installment, it always looks cheap, but it actually isn't. Cost of credit is very high. So if they say you can buy this couches is 29,999 on cash, but if you're gonna pay it, you're gonna buy it on installment, you'll pay 1,200 rand for the 36 months, and you're thinking, 1,200 is not a lot, and you agree to it. Before you can agree, before you can sign, firstly calculate this installment in this number of months, how much will it cost me? Because your couches for 30,000 rand, you can actually end up paying 60,000 rand for them if you're taking them on credit. So it means you're buying two sets, but you're only getting one set. So it means you're donating with the other set. That is the cost of credit. So even before you take out a credit, you need to understand how much interest you are charged. You need to understand the payment period. How long is it going to take you, and how much are you going to end up spending at the end? So again, steps in creating a household budget. When you create a household budget, you need to pool your income. So if you've got a partner, you put it together. As ladies like saying, his money is my money, but my money is my money. It doesn't work like that. And also the gentlemen, men, will be saying, no, I can't tell my woman how much I'm earning. And if you are doing that, you are actually making your woman to have high expectations of you. You find that you are earning 5,000 rand and you don't discuss it with me. At the end of the month, I always demand things that are above that 5,000 rand because I don't know how much money you are getting. But if you discuss these things with me, I will never want things that are above that. I will always want things that I know you can be able to afford. So it is always good to always pull in your income together. There's a saying that says, a family that prays together stays together. Just like a family that saves together stays together. So discuss your finances. You need to pull them in together. Whatever decision you take it as a collective. And then step number 2, add up all your household expenses. When we add up all our household expenses, we include everything: your airtime, my airtime, our data, our electricity. And then step number 3 says, categorize your expenses and adjust your budget. And our last step says, monitor your household budget. Now we're looking at the household budget. A household budget gives you and your family the opportunity to agree on expenditure and where it should be cut. It also helps identify opportunities for saving. For instance, are you paying for separate medical aids? Would it be cheaper to go onto a family plan? So that's why I said you need to pull in together. So your budget should always be income minus expenses equals to either deficit or surplus. Your deficit is when you are sitting on a minus, or your surplus is when you are sitting on a positive. So the outcome of your budget depends on your planning. If you plan better, you'll always be left on a surplus. So there are 3 types of savings you should have right now. Everybody needs to have an emergency fund. Your emergency fund should be enough to cover at least 3 to 6 months of your living expense. Should anything happen and you don't receive your salary for at least 3 to 6 months, you should be able to live off your savings. So sit it there right now. You need to have at least 3 to 6 months of your monthly salary saved towards your emergency fund. Everybody should have also a goal-driven saving. Your goal-driven saving could be things like lobola, for a wedding, deposit for your house or car, or for a holiday. So your goal-driven holiday, it's a specific thing that you are saving towards. You need to have that. And then you also need to have retirement saving to cover your living expenses when you retire. Remember, the only thing that changes when you retire is the fact that you don't wake up every morning and go to work, but everything else remains the same. So while you are still working, you need to be thinking towards your retirement to say, when I go on pension, will I still be able to afford my living standards? Can I still afford to do all the things that I used to do while I was still working? So you need to ensure that you are saving towards your retirement. And you know, a research has been done and shows that people between the ages of 35 and 35 are not saving towards their retirements, because you tell yourself, no, I'm still young. Why should I be worried about that? You are never too young to start saving towards your retirement. In actual fact, the sooner you start, the better. Because when you start when you are young, you don't have the pressure of saving too much. You can even start from your 250. You do that because of the annual increases. By the time you are 60 or 65, you go on pension, you will have enough. But if you wait until you are 40, you can't start with 250, because when you go on pension, it's not going to be enough. So you have the pressure of saving a lot, which can actually be avoided. Third animal, set actionable goals. Now that you have a good idea of your financial positions, you are in a better position to set your goals. Identify your short, medium, and long term. So your short-term goals are the goals that you want to achieve between now and the coming year, that from 1 to 12 months. That is your short-term goal. Medium is 3 to 5, 1 to 3 years. And your long term is 3 to 5. It's actually not 3 to 5, it's 3 years and more. Even your 10 years is your long term, even 15 years, that is your long term. So you need to identify what your short, medium, and long term goals are. Set a deadline for each goal. So don't just say one day I will achieve. No, you need to know, when do you want to achieve? If you want to buy a car, set a time frame for that. By when do you want to buy a car? By when do you want to pay that lobola? Don't just say, when, ning. Step number 4, identify the main action you need to take to achieve your goals. So your actions obviously is a saving plan. To say, for my short-term goal, I'm aiming to have 5,000 by the end of the year. So how are you going to achieve that? So it means you would need to put 350 rand aside every month. And then also your medium term. Just because you are working on your short term doesn't mean you must ignore your medium. You do all three at the time. Obviously, you know your long term would be your pension funds. So you ask yourself, do you have a retirement annuity? That is your long term. Your medium term, what do you want to achieve in the next 1 to 3 years? And what is the action you need to take to achieve that? And same thing for your short-term goal. And then step number 4 says, monitor your progress towards your goals. So you need to make sure that you always check the progress. If you told yourself that I want to have 5,000 rand by the end of the year, we are now in May. How much have you put aside towards that? Have you started? Have you put some action into your plans? Animal number 3, the leopard. They say focus on your goals like the leopard stalks his prey. You know, when leopards go hunting, they don't go in groups. Leopards are solitary hunters. When they go hunting, they go alone. And also another thing that the leopards do, they stalk their prey. They don't just attack. You know, leopards can run very fast, but up to a limited distance. They run very fast, but only for a minute. So this is why they stalk their prey. They make sure that they are close enough to their target so that they don't exceed the 60 seconds before they catch. And also, leopards, they set their targets. Remember, they hunt alone. So they will never hunt for prey that they will not be able to take up the tree. Leopards eat on top of the tree. So they hunt for prey that they know once they catch it, they will be able to drag it up the tree on their own where they are going to eat it. So you will never find a leopard hunt for an elephant, a giraffe, or a buffalo. Those are too big. So it hunts for realistic prey. It hunts for things that they know once I catch, I'll manage to take it up the tree. So what are leopards teaching us about our finances? Leopards are teaching us that we also need to be realistic with our goals. You need to always set yourself goals that you know you will be able to achieve. You don't want to burden yourself with things that you can't. You know, when you have a goal and you share with someone, we are expecting results. So when every year you are always telling me stories, it becomes stories because you are not achieving. You say, hey, this year I want to buy a car. 3 years down the line, you still don't have that car. So obviously, you've set yourself something you can't achieve. So the leopard says, be realistic with yourself and also be specific about the things that you want. If it's a car, you need to know what model, how much are you willing to spend on that car? How long are you going to pay for that car? So you need to be specific about yourself. And also the leopard teaches us that don't just buy what you can afford, buy what you can maintain. So whatever you buy, you need to make sure, yes, I can afford it. And also I'll be able to maintain it. On our next slide, we're going to be talking about the different marriage regimes, the different marriage types that we have in our country. Marriage and money. You need to make sure that I can before I do. Because if you don't know how to manage your own finances, so how are you going to be able to manage your family finances? So you need to start with yourself to say, I can before I do. And also, it is advisable, marriage affects us financially, especially depending on the type of marriage that you get into. So I'm just going to explain a bit about the types of marriages that we have. So we have civil marriage and a civil union. This can either be in community of property or out of community of property. And we also have customary marriages, which now, according to the law, are identified as an automatic in community of property unless there's an antenuptial contract. So now I'm going to go into the marriage regimes. I've already mentioned that you can either find in community of property or out of community of property. So in community of property is the obvious one. Gamina, gawena, gawena, gamina. Within community of property, we share the profits and the losses. So if we are married in community of property and it happens that we must divorce, we are going to go 50-50 with our assets and also with our liabilities. So we're going to put together our assets and we're going to put together all our credits and then we're going to split those. Obviously, you should know and understand before you get into any marriage contract. A marriage is a contract, yes. And then we also have out of community of property. Again, out of community of property can either be with accrual system or without accrual system. So with accrual system, what it means is that everything that you have before you get into a marriage is your own. But everything you get after you are married, then it belongs to the both of you. So this is in community of property with accrual system. I'm going to make an example. You've been working for the past 10 years. And in those 10 years, obviously, you have a pension fund that they've been taking from your workplace. Your employer has been saving for you. And then you get married for like 6 months and you get a divorce. So if you are married out of community of property with accrual system, it means now your ex-partner is only entitled to 6 months of your pension fund, because that's the duration that you were married for. Where else, if you are married in community of property, I'm going to go a bit back to in community of property. If you are married in community of property, you've been working for the past 20 years, and then you get married for like 6 months, and should it happen that you get a divorce, your partner is entitled to your whole life pension fund. So is entitled to the past 20 years. It doesn't matter if they knew you then or you were married to them then, but the fact that you are married in community of property, you share everything, even the things that you got before you met that partner. But out of community of property with accrual system, what you get into the marriage with belongs to you, but what you accumulate after the marriage belongs to us. And then there's also out of community of property without accrual system. So basically what this means is that what is yours, what is mine is mine. It doesn't matter if we bought it while we were in the relationship or while we were in the marriage, but if I buy it, it's mine. When we get divorced, it's still mine. I hope you understand the two in community of property with accrual system, and also out of community of property with accrual system, and also out of community of property without accrual system. With accrual, what you get in with is yours. What you get after you are married is ours. Without accrual, everything you buy is yours. Everything they buy is theirs. So when we get divorced, you take what's yours, I take what's mine. So during a divorce or a separation, sometimes in life things don't work out. Here are the 3 things you need to consider during a divorce. You need to understand how assets and liabilities will be distributed between partners in a divorce under your marriage regime. Budget for additional costs like legal costs, cost involved in selling homes and moving out. And then also you need to assess the implication of the divorce on your retirement fund. Consult your financial advisor on the tax implications of withdrawals. So I hope you know and understand now that a marriage is a contract, and it's a contract that you need to know and understand before you get in. You need to know all the implications of it. Here, we're going to move to the next element, which talks about taking control of your debt. The rhino. Charge down your debt like a rhino. Don't let your debt run your life. Rhinos are naturally very peaceful animals. If you don't mess with a rhino, it'll never mess with you. But should you mess with a rhino, then it becomes very aggressive. Their only option is to always charge their threat. When a rhino is attacked, the only option it does not have is running away. It will always face its threat head on and charge it down. So that is what we are learning, because in life, our biggest threat as far as money is concerned is debt. So the rhino is teaching us to never run away. When they call you, you need to take those calls and you need to make arrangements. You need to distinguish between good and bad debt. We're going to start with the bad debt. Your bad debt is typically high cost and drains your wealth. So food and credit is a bad debt. Borrowing money to pay for other credit is a bad debt. Luxury cars and holidays you can't afford, that is a bad debt. Now you're going to look at the good debts. Your good debts are debts that builds your wealth and improves your financial position. So if you are going to take a student loan, that's a good debt because you are empowering yourself. You could get a better paying job because of the qualification you will get. You could get a promotion because of the qualification you can get. So that is an investment. That is why it's a good debt. And then you also get mortgage. That's your home loan. That's a good debt because firstly, your house does not depreciate in value, but it appreciates. And also a business loan to grow your operation. That is a good debt because you're going to get great returns from that. So before you go out and take out any debt, you need to first distinguish whether it's a good debt or a bad debt. Make debt work for you. Don't work for your debt. Only take on debt that you can afford. So if you're struggling to pay a monthly installment, it means it's a bad debt because obviously you can't afford it. If you need to take on debt, use debt to achieve your long-term goals, e.g. buying a house. So if you're going to take a debt, you need to make sure that it's going to work for you in future. Shop around for the best interest rates and terms. Before you can even sign up for any credit, you need to make sure that you've done your research, you've shopped around, and the debt that you are getting is the best one you can get. Pay your credit card balance every month. So you know that when you have a credit card, you only charge interest on the money you've used. So if you make sure that you pay every month, chances are you're going to have the lowest interest because you're only charged on your balance. If you are in debt, you need to get out quickly. We all need to plan our debt-free day as early in life as possible, but certainly by age 55. When you get to the age 55, you need to make sure that you don't have any debts because you are preparing for your retirement. And your retirement savings are not meant to pay off your debt, but they are meant to live off for the rest of your life. So the sooner you get out of debt, the better. Keep an eye on your credit profile. And the importance of you keeping an eye of your credit profile, you will get to have an understanding on the implications of having a good or a bad credit rating. Because when you have a bad credit rating, it means you are charged high interest every time you apply for a credit. For instance, we can both buy a polo that costs maybe 150,000. And I have an excellent credit score because I'm scoring between 767 and 999. I get charged a prime rate of 9.5. And you, because you are below average, because you are rating between 527 and 582, you are charged a prime rate of 12%. How does a prime affect you? So the higher interest you are charged, the more you pay monthly. So because I'm excellent, I get to pay 2,000 Rand a month for 56 months. And then because you are below average, you get to pay 3,200, which is 1,200 more than what I'm paying. So for 56 months, I pay 2,000, you pay 3,200 Rand for the same car that has the same specs, same mileages and everything. So it means at the end, I spend way less than you do just because I've got a good credit rating. So you need to keep an eye on your credit profile, pay your accounts on time. Because if they say you must pay your account by the 30th of every month, and you go and you pay on the 1st of the month, it means you've defaulted on the contract and it affects your credit scoring. It takes down your points. Only use credit when you absolutely need it. Don't just because you got an SMS, hi, Miss Dineo, you qualify for a loan of 50,000 and I get excited and I go apply for it. No, it doesn't work like that. Only take out debt when there's really a need. You don't take out debt because you qualify. You take out debt because you need it. You need to maintain a healthy mix of credit, e.g., not too many payday loans. So it mustn't be a spitty of debit orders at the end of the month. You need to check your credit record regularly. So on my right here, it's just the scoring. I hope you know your points right now because they have a meaning. Between 0 and 486, it means poor. Chances are nobody will be willing to loan you money or borrow you money. Unfavorable, between 527 and 582. So you can take a picture of the slide so that you are able to rate yourself and you know what your your credit, your scoring means. You are entitled to one free credit report every year. Because if you're going to check your credit scoring every month, also that affects your credit scoring negatively. You need to only check it once a year. If you can go to any Old Mutual branch, they can give you a credit score, your credit report for free of charge. So you just need to have your ID and they can be able to print your credit report for you for free of charge, but only once every 12 months. And you can also buy this from Checkers Store or ShopRite. I think it's 79 Rand or 89 Rand. You can also buy it there, but once every 12 months, just to see if you are improving. Because if you want to do it every 3 months, also that affects you negatively. And also you can Google it. Either you can use either TransUnion or Experian. So all these the two types here are approved by the credit bureau. You can check them there. How to get out of financial trouble. Feeling overwhelmed by financial stress, stay positive. You can get out. And this is what you need to do to get out. Focus on paying your debt using the snowball or avalanche technique. I'll explain to you just now what the snowball or the avalanche technique is. You need to check your progress every week to make sure you are on track. Take inventory, write down all your debt, income, and expenses. Look at your expenses, cut and reduce them to the bare bones. Is there any way to increase your income, e.g., part-time job, sell things you don't need, or even you can monetize your hobbies? Some people enjoy baking and they're very good at baking. So instead of baking for fun, bake, sell those, and make yourself an extra income. Stop taking on new debt until you are in a better financial position. So the two approaches that I spoke about, the snowball method, you need to rank your debt from the lowest to the highest repayment. So you need by repayment, I mean your monthly installments. Put in the amount you owe and monthly repayments. So I'm going to make a practical example because sometimes when I just read it doesn't make sense. So if you've got a credit, let's say with TUT, and they say you must pay 350 every month, try and put in more when you can, because that extra 50 Rand actually cuts down the credit. So the snowball method simply means put in extra when you can, because the more you put in, the quicker you'll pay off that credit and the sooner you'll be out. And then you also have the avalanche method. Rank your debt from the highest to the lowest interest. So your debt that has the highest interest, that is actually your biggest threat. So firstly, you need to know the interest that you are charged on your different accounts, because the debt with the highest interest, that is your biggest threat. So you need to attack that one as fast as you can. And by so doing, I'm not saying you should ignore all the other debts because they have a lower interest, but just put more focus, more emphasis on the one with the highest interest. Pay it off as quick as you can and close it down as quick as you can. So those are the two methods. So you put in extra when you can, and then you also look at the debt that charges you the highest interest and you prioritize that. And our last animal that we're going to look at, it talks about protecting your family. So you need to protect your family. How? We're going to get into that just now. The buffalo, protect and grow your head, family, or wealth. The reason we associate the buffalo with protection is because buffaloes are famous for protecting themselves through numbers. What I mean by that is that buffaloes are always walking in big herds. Wherever they go, there's hundreds of them in one group. And the reason for that is because they protect themselves through those numbers. Even if a lion can try and sneak up on them, they will attack it as a team because they are stronger as a team. So buffaloes are famous for being in big herds, and it takes time and patience to grow those herds. So it also means buffaloes are very patient animals because they are patient enough to grow those herds until they are protected as a team. But where can we as people find our protection? Through insurance. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. You would find your protection through medical aid, your hospital plans, through life insurance, your credit life insurance, also your personal and funeral insurance. There are certain things that will happen in life, whether you like it or you don't, things like death. And when it happens, you need to ask yourself, will you be able to cover the cost or loss from your savings? If yes, then self-insure. No, then you must consider insurance. So, firstly, ask yourself, should the unfortunate happen and my partner or my child or my parent died, will I be able to cover all the costs? If your answer is no, then you need to consider taking out an insurance on their life, also your life. Also ask yourself, should anything happen and I pass on, will those that are remaining be able to take care of all the costs? If not, then consider taking out insurance. You also need to ask yourself, will you be able to pay the monthly premium that you need? If yes or no, whatever answer you get, you need to always shop around for the best prices. Before you take out any policy or before you take out any product, you need to shop around for the best deals. Don't just walk into the first financial institution that you get and you stick with that. No, first shop around and see which company is offering you the best deals. Now we're going to look again at the roadmap to your best life. You need to understand what influences your money decisions. You need to manage your money well. We've spoken about this before. So we're just putting any emphasis to say, while I'm going through this program, are you learning anything? Can you understand what influences your money now? Can you be able to manage your money after this presentation from all the things that you would have learned about the big fives? You need to set actionable financial goals. Remember, the leopard is the one that talks about setting financial goals. Number 4, it says you need to take control of your debt. Remember, the rhino is the one that talks about controlling debt. You need to face them. You need to face them and charge them down. Never try to run away. If you're struggling for any reason, rather you make arrangements. Talk to the people that you're owing and get to an arrangement that you know you'll be able to honor. And then the 5th one says protect yourself and your family. This is the buffalo. It talks about protection, and this protection you can get it through insurance. Creating financial habit. Create a weekly savings habit. So you can either have a money box and you tell yourself, no, every week I need to make sure that I put like 15 rand for the whole year. It might seem small, but imagine if you were to put 15 rand in your money box every week. How much money are you going to be having by the end of the year? A lot. And that is very achievable. 15 rand is nothing because we spend that on McDonald's, we spend that on airtime, we spend them on unnecessary things. You need to evaluate your budget every month. Do an annual finances health check. Remember to schedule these events in your calendar. So you need to know, Hore, on this date of every month, that is when I reflect on my budgetary expenses and my actual expenditure. So according to what you would have budgeted, did you stick to your plans? And if not, you need to ask yourself, why not? Before we go, we want you to commit to a good financial habit. So this is just a little contract that you need to do on your own. So after I will, so basically after I watch Uzalo, I will transfer 20 Rand every Wednesday evening. You know, this is just what you commit yourself. So after you tell yourself after watching your favorite show, here they're just using Uzalo as an example. So you would say, after I watch this certain program, I will transfer a certain amount into my account, into my savings every month. So you can actually try this. It works. So if it happens that you watch your favorite show, it means you owe yourself to save something. So always transfer something into your savings after you've watched your favorite show. And this is how you can connect with us. You can find us on Twitter at OM_on_the money, or on Facebook, that is the link, or even on Instagram on OM_on_the money, or even on LinkedIn on the Money Financial Education Program. So you need to take control of your money and live your best life. And that will cover my presentation. Thank you. And I remember I did say my name is Dinewa Makheru. I have posted an electronic register in the chat, and also Katleho has it. Please make sure that you complete that electronic attendance register for me. And then where it asks who the facilitator was, you just tick my name, which is Dineo. It is on the list. I think it's second on the list. It is Dineo Makheru. And once you're done, you need to make sure that it's submitted. It should say submitted or thank you at the end. That'll cover the rest of my presentation. I'll just wait for if there's any questions.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. Colleagues, if you have any questions, can you please kindly post them in the comment section so that I can be able to read them out, or alternatively just raise your hand and I will unmute you so that Ms. Makeru can respond to your question. I would also like to plead with you to please fill in the register. It doesn't even take more than 2 minutes for you to fill it in. Thank you. I see here there's a question regarding the presentation. Should you require the presentation, you are more than welcome to send me an email and I will gladly forward it to you. Colleagues, are there any other questions? Please don't be shy to ask. Okay, colleagues, it seems like we don't have any other questions, but we do have a comment. They'd like to say thank you for the presentation. It was an eye-opening presentation. I'm sure she would really appreciate that comment. I am going to end the meeting because it seems like we don't have any other questions. Remember, please fill in the register. It doesn't take more than 2 minutes for you to do that. Should you require the presentation, you are more than welcome to send me an email. Should you want Dineho's contact details, please send me an email as well. I will gladly forward her email to you. Thank you so much, colleagues. Dineho, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.